the cloud. And admitting the people, good day to you all. Hi, everyone. Yeah. Hello. What's up? It's great to see you guys. Okay, I'm admitting the waiting room. This is one of my favorite activities, going to the waiting room and clicking admit all. It's just a thrill. It never gets old. Mercedes knows what I'm saying. Great to see you again. Hey, Dina, what's up, coffee bestie? Hello, Howard. Howard's got some pink. It looks pink in your screen to me. Your blankets, your VO booth. I love it. Love to see it. What is up, Tim? Good day to you, my friend Alexis. With I'm gonna call this. What are those flowers, Alexis? Is that your favorite flower? Those aren't. What? Okay, you have to tell me in the chat because I'm all over the place. Hi from New Jersey. What's up, Charles? Luke, hello. Great to see you. Come on in, my humans. Hi from Michigan. Daffodils. I was like Daisy. I realized recently, as we've talked on the internet, that I know the names of flowers less than I thought I did. If that makes any sense, right? I really don't know them like I thought that I did. So my favorite flower, if anyone's wondering, is actually a Gerber daisy. That's my favorite. But I'm really into lately ranunculus. I don't know how to say it. Yeah, Alexis knows. David, what's your favorite flower?
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers.
They're big, they're happy, they're bright.
Excellent choice. Fully.
And you know, when they die on the island, the kitchen island, they don't leave too bad of a mess. Some flowers flake into the allergens are everywhere and dust and everything, but they're clean. They're nice.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And some flowers in the vase, they just really decay in there. The science of it is very fascinating. Yes, we love hello from Long Beach, ranunculus. Yes, okay. I'm glad that we get into this. We need those low maintenance flowers. It really does help. Oh, and welcome.
Low maintenance is good.
Yes, there's too much otherwise. Hello from Dubai. Oh, great. Wendy loves sunflowers. We got folks from Raleigh. Welcome. Letting everyone in. Great to see you. Good day to you all, or good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Siobhan. I am the social media manager and community liaison, community practices. You know, I'm a person that you talk to at a video very often. With my big extrovert energy, okay? That's what we're bringing in the house. But you don't have to be extroverted. It's okay, my voice actors. You just be you. We love you as you are. This is our Ask Me Anything session number 32. We've been going a long haul here, and we really enjoy it. So we thank you for continuing to be with us. If this is your first time, welcome. To my Zoom left, I have no idea where he is on your screen. We've got our Chief Edge Officer, whose favorite flower is the sunflower, David Goldberg. Hi, David.
Hello, Siobhan. Hello, voice actors. I'm noticing Cole's headphones with the ears attached are super cool. I don't know if you guys see. You have to go into gallery mode to be able to see a little thumbnail of everyone. Cole, those are very cool.
Cole, I have those headphones. I have them.
Siobhan, that's not surprising.
They're way too far away for me to get, but I will wear them to the next one. Cole, can you do the dance? Da, 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 da. You know, okay. All right. We'll have to talk about that later. There's a whole dance with those headphones. Oh, but those are great. The Kraken Razor Bluetooth. Yeah, we do love them. David, thanks for noticing Cole's fabulous headphones. Everyone should get them. They're fabulous. Okay, so here we go. At Ask Me Anything, we do like to hang out. We love fun headphones. We love flowers, and we love talking actually about voiceover. I promise that's what we're here to do. But you know, it's nice to get a little icebreaker going. You know what, Tim? I like your headphones too. Practical. Black is a utilitarian color. As a New Yorker, I endorse. David's got, it's okay, black headphones.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But no ears on mine.
No, and you can't tell because of the daytime.
But I can try. I can take my glasses. It's close, right? Kind of close.
Can you tell that David's a dad? You know, just
Oh,
Dina. Oh my. Okay, you all are amazing. So, welcome. I'm sure you all are very accommodated to your Zoom experience. For me personally, I like the gallery mode so that we can notice, Alexis's flower background, Howard's, studio in the UK, Cole's headphones, all of that good stuff. However, if you are a speaker mode kind of person, you can, in the view button on your top right corner, you can click that view. You can decide gallery or speaker, however you want to look at it. You can also pin someone's video. It's a free world. It's the Wild West out here on the world of Zoom. So with that being said, the way we rock these AMAs is that you all are on mute, which is not because I don't love you. It's just we want to keep the Zoom chaos at a minimal. And what you're going to do is drop your questions in the chat, and people are already doing it. So anything you want to talk about today with me and David regarding voiceover or sunflowers, I guess, but really voiceover, just drop it in the chat, and I'll just pop it on over to David, and we will hang out and just spend this hour socializing before David goes to his son's graduation. So we're gonna end this thing on time because we are the good people of the internet today. Okay, so welcome. Wait, Leah has the same headphones. Did someone else? Oh my gosh, Leah! You know the dance, right? You know what I'm talking about. Da, 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 da. Okay, there she goes. Yes, she.
oh, nice. We should all be grooving. Come on.
Yeah,
I don't know the dance, but show us the dance and let's do it.
it's like we'll do it at the yeah, and then you go like this too, and then you're like doing this. It's a really fun. I don't know. She's a TikTok star. Y'all need to follow Leah because she's a TikTok star, and we love to have TikTok stars in our midst today. Plus, it's apropos to many conversations we are having. Okay, so Alexis, Alexis, is great to see you. And just to say hi, she does have to go do things, but this is our community. It's fun to just have people pop in and join us, even if you can't be here the entire time. Okay. Next time, I promise they're across the room. I will bring my cat ears and join everyone for this shenanigans. Sharon from the UK. Yes. Cool. Okay. Sharon in the UK. She says, David, do any voice actors that you know of suffer from asthma and have to work on breathing during the recording? Have you found asthma to be a conversation you've had in your coaching sessions? Is this something that comes up with you?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Come on, like anything that comes out of your mouth, any sound is something you need to contend with. And I've worked with voice actors, professional voice actors who have unbelievably clicky mouths, emphysema, asthma, just terrible allergies. Those who just always have runny noses for a variety of reasons, mouth whistles. Yeah, it's part of life, and you have, I think, ultimately three options. One is to give up voiceover, which is a shame because there are other ways around. Two other options. Another option is to see if you can get rid of the issue at hand. And so, whether it is speaking with a dentist about respacing your teeth, or plugging up a hole in your crown that creates a whistle sound, or medicine that declicks your voice, or whatever it is. Um, Different exercises that can sometimes decrease breathing. Of course, that's a second option. And the third option is simply work around it. So, for example, there's a very, very well-known, respected voice actor who has an unbelievably clicky mouth. And I think this guy came up in conversation in an earlier Ask Me Anything. And it's a bear to record him. Even with software that sort of automatically removes clicks, this guy has too many clicks within words for the software to work. And so we have to manually edit this guy's voice. And so we hire him for very short form work. His voice is great. He's a great guy to work with. I would never record him on an audiobook. 10 hours of declicking his voice would be nightmarish, but for a commercial, it's terrific. So maybe you need to take on shorter work, maybe take on slower reads, whatever it is. But like I said, a very viable option is to work around it.
I think that's a really important thing to think of, like your body, your health, and like what you have. My brother is a voice actor as well, and when he was a child, he was in a really bad accident where he was hit by a car, and he lost his most of his teeth. So he actually has like dentures, and his S's have always been a challenge because of the change in his teeth, that he's sort of always had, and constantly implants, and there's just a constant thing. And so his S's and how he handles that is like different from how other people would handle that. And he kind of tries to tap his S from the side of his mouth with his tongue. It's this whole thing, right? But anyway, I say that to say that everybody has different things that they're working with, much to David's point, and like perhaps that means if asthma is really big, it is a big part of your life, and you find it a potential impairment, that perhaps it does mean that you work on more shorter form things, or find a way to make it work for you. It doesn't make you less good at this. It just means you do it maybe differently than other folks you know.
Well
Um,
said.
yeah. Well, that's because you said it well, David. Um, um,
You said it weller.
oh boy. Also, I'm seeing my friend Dave is here. Hi, Dave. It's great to see you. Yes, I'm looking at you. Great to see you. So happy you're here with us. From Charles. David, do you consider it productive use of time for a new voice actor with 2 professional demos but no paid gigs yet to start approaching agents?
Boy, there are a lot of variables to consider there. It may be the perfect time, like really the best time for you to reach out. It could be the worst time. It could be the best time simply because you're a fresh voice, and some agents are looking for really fresh voices, someone who's not out there yet. Especially if they are, especially if the agent's looking for voice actors to be the voice of a product, to have like a long campaign. They may want someone who's new, someone who doesn't have any background work to contend with, someone who hasn't worked with competitive products and so on, someone that they can mold. Could also be a good time to work with a manager for that same reason. But it could also be a really bad move, because if you don't have the confidence, the experience, the comfort in working, then the agent may not want to take you on. So it really depends on, I think, which agent or agency you're looking at. It depends on the genres that you're marketing toward: short form, long form, commercial, documentary, whatever. It depends on your personal interests, depends on your goals. It depends on how comfortable you are, how good you are, whether or not you've had work. You may be good or not good. And so there really are a lot of variables. So there's not an answer that I can give you at this point, other than figure it out, which is not very helpful. I know. You and I can have a session if you want, and I can give you my 2 cents after running you through some questions and some scripts. Maybe that's a good alternative. But there are a lot of things to consider.
And having your professional demos done is very important, and is the thing that will lead you to your paid gigs. And so, not having officially paid gigs, I would say, don't let that stop you from feeling like you can have professional conversations with people
Yes.
like agents. Um, from Luke, how much experience do you need with accents and languages for voiceover? I know a few languages and a few accents, but I don't know if I should add it to my voiceover profile.
Yeah, yeah. Let me go back to that previous question. So, because Siobhan, what you added on was, I think, super helpful and useful, and it does. Yeah, as Siobhan said, you have the demos, and that's great, but it's how you sort of how you can deal with an agent, because an agent may say to you, "Well, what experience do you have?" And a voice actor with no experience is likely to say, "Well, none." But you can also change that answer and say, "Well, I have lots of experience, right? I've taken classes, I've taken workshops, have had lots of private training. I've worked on one with these 4 or 7 different coaches. I have trained. What you hear on my demo is actual work that I've done. I've made sure that I was coached enough to be able to pull this out on my own, rather than relying on a director to pull each word out of me and sort of edit every word together on my demo. I mean, I feel comfortable and confident that I can recreate what you hear on my demo. I'm happy to work with you. Send me some sample auditions. I'll send you back some recordings. I mean, you can convey confidence and trust even if you don't have that experience. So again, a lot of this comes down to how you conduct yourself. Um, to this next question, you absolutely do not need to be able to speak multiple languages or pull off accents or dialects to be very successful in voice acting. And in fact, the vast majority of voice actors focus on one language only. Certainly, if you can read multiple languages, that's great. As long as you demonstrate it, as long as you demonstrate it correctly on your demo, it gives you the ability to narrate in multiple languages, which is really helpful for some clients. Um, Earlier today, I had a session with a voice actor in Switzerland who speaks German and who speaks like, I don't know, a whole bunch of languages, uh, but I was directing him on a script, and it had a lot of English words, and it had some German words thrown in, and so he was hired for this job, and that was terrific. So if you speak multiple languages, that's a helpful thing, but it's certainly not necessary. And I will also tell you that most in most cases, when a client wants a voice actor who speaks a foreign language or has an accent, they are looking for the real deal. They don't want to hire, most clients do not want to hire a voice actor who has to add some affectation to their voice to sound like someone else. You know, when a client says to us that they want French, we say, well, what French do you want? Parisian French, Canadian French, Malaysian French, whatever. And they say they want Canadian French. And we say, well, great. Do you want French from Quebec? You know, where do you want the French from? And then we hire the real deal. We find a voice actor in that region who does the real thing. So many years ago, voice actors who could pull off multiple accents got more work by doing the accents, but not today.
I think it's such an important distinction that you just made, David, is that really what the industry is now. My brother and I were talking about this. He was like, $10 for every like voiceover audition you get in that doesn't tell you to be authentic, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all asking for authenticity. So if you're putting on an accent or, you might speak a language, but you might not sound good speaking that language. You know what I mean? It's one thing to be like, I can have a conversation in this language, and it's another thing to truly sound like everything that David's talking about. This specific, what also going back to what I've learned from David, what the client wants, uh, that's your authentic voice. So it's important to think about these things, despite how versatile of a person you are. That may not be the thing that the client's looking for in your voice.
Right, because the client wants natural, right? They want authentic. And authentic is more than just an accent. Authentic is the whole dialect, right? You know, dialect is a combination of accent, also the rhythm of your voice, the words, the word choice that you use, the intonation. I mean, there's so much that goes into dialect. Accent is just one part of it. So, you know, unless you can pull off the very neutral sounding dialect, you're not going to get the job anyway.
Um, Additionally, sort of piggybacking onto that, Tony is asking, what about having a character demo? Is it good for a voice actor to have a character demo?
Well, having a character demo is necessary if you want character work, and if you don't want character work, then you don't need it at all.
I
It's
like
as
that
simple as
system.
that. I mean, you know, there are so many sectors of this industry. If you want to get documentary work, well, it's helpful to have a documentary demo, right? And if you want character work, then have a character demo. And and I will just say, because that's a basic question, I assume that you're new to the industry, in which case I find that most people who are new to the industry don't understand the difference between character work and animation work. And there's a big difference. Character work is when you sort of imitate someone else that exists in real life. So if the client says, "Can you sound like this celebrity?" or "Can you sound like a cowboy?" "Can you sound like you're from Brooklyn, New York?" You know, these are voices that they exist in real life, and you can do your rendition of it, but you're sort of copying someone else. Whereas animation is when you create a voice, something that doesn't exist in real life. So if an animated production is being created by Disney or Pixar, and they say, "Hey, can you do the sound of a talking fish or a talking car?" You are creating something, right? There is no such thing as a real talking car. So you have to animate that. So that's the difference between character work and animation work. And there's a ton of character work and a ton of animation work. And not just in cartoons and animated movies, but talking toys and e-learning and all sorts of children's apps and things. So there's a lot of work out there, but you should know the distinction, know which is better for you, if not both. And yeah, if you want that work, certainly have a demo. It's very fun work, I'll tell you that.
It's so fun to create the demo as well and create characters. But yes, I think to David's point, if you do corporate narration and clients are looking at your website and listening to your demos, they're not going to be like, where is the character or animation demo? I will not hire them to do this medical narration. It's they won't think you're not a good voice actor,
Yeah.
because you're lacking that. This is from Howard. Howard, I need to tell you. So you're in Devon. I lived in Totnes for like 6 months. Yeah, I went to a tiny little art school there called Dartington. I think it doesn't exist anymore, but it's on this estate and it's totally beautiful. And it was a really weird time in my life. But I love Devon so much. Everyone, the south of England is just incredible. It's like I'm sorry, it's like a Dickens movie all the time. Novel. We read books here, but it's wonderful. So Howard, great to have you. Great to have my oh my gosh, and the cream tea experience. Yeah, we love Devon. Okay, so yesterday online, Howard asked a prominent voice actor about the value of saving gigs that we reckon went very well so we can repeat the success. Um, and the voice actor said not to save the gig, absolutely not, and develop day to day. Howard, can you tell us? I'm wondering if David needs more clarification. What do you mean by saving the gig? Is David, would that be helpful?
Yeah, because I have no idea what Howard means. Sorry.
I'm
It's
bringing in.
it's a really interesting question. I'd
I
like
can
to learn more
unmute
about the
now.
question.
I noticed the unmute is working. Is it working? Can you hear me?
We hear you, yeah.
Hello. Homage to Totnes and to Dartington. They're wonderful places. They're highly exciting, creative places. Really, you couldn't pick a better place, I think. They're not very far from here. What was I talking about? Yes, this guy, I won't name him because he's very prominent and is always working. He was very firm about this. What I said to him was, occasionally looking back over the years, I'll pick up something on a file. I think, oh, I did that right. Where did I get that quality from? So I'll save it and I'll mark it up under my study heading, get back to that and have a look, see what you did right. I thought that was a good thing to do. But he said, no, 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 you must evolve. Always develop your style. We're always learning. Never look back.
I think I understand the question, but let me clarify. Are you talking about a certain voice that came across very nicely? The client liked a certain voice, and if you create for example, a character voice or an animation voice, and the character likes it, you should save that voice, like record it, make note of it, so you can always refer back to it. Is that what you mean? Oh, Howard, we don't hear you. You're muted.
I got him. I got him.
You got it. Yes, thanks. Yes, we've got two. We've all got mute buttons. I will save some characters because sometimes you think that worked and the client liked it. It might be character or it might be, as you call it, an animation voice. So I'll save that because sometimes they come from, you don't know where they channel from. But more
Yeah.
typically, in my case anyway, that was the way to read that kiddie story, or that was the way to get the gravity of that particular reading. So I want to hold on to that. And so I'll keep a sample of that. So really, it was both those extremes.
Yeah, I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to be able to refer back to some of your previous work. So I have a number of random thoughts. Um, unless you create a voice or do something that is, unless you narrate something that is so distinctive, so unique, and the client rather gives you like an NDA, and they essentially they buy out that particular voice.
Oh,
I don't know what would prevent you from using that same voice again. Certainly, if it's a character, they pay you a hefty amount of money for a character or animation, a voice. They have every right to say, "Look, we have you animating the voice of a flower, right, for the children's cartoon, and we're paying you this money, and we want to own that voice." Okay, then you don't use that voice again. But
well, I
even
played a
then,
tree. Sorry, I did
I
play a
know a
tree
tree, a flower, a bird,
and a
whatever.
bee.
Even but even listening back to it, even if you don't recreate that same voice, listening back to it can give you inspiration.
Sure,
Look,
sure.
in any business, and we are all in business for ourselves, right? You're all voice actors. You work for yourself. In any business, even a very large business like um, like McDonald's or, like some national international corporation, when a product works well, they keep selling it. But at the same time, they all have internal departments which are considering other newer and better products, right? So, if something works, keep it going, but never stop pushing, never stop being proactive, because if you become complacent, then eventually you'll become stale, and your competition is going to creep up on you and take over all your new clients that you could, or potential clients. So always be innovating, always be thinking, always be creating something bigger and better, but also have a stable that works for you and use it. So I think listening. So I think in summary, um, saving some good stuff and listening back to it for inspiration and for your personal education, I think is terrific. So I would certainly hold on to that stuff and mark it up and categorize it. And also, not for nothing, but if you are hired or potentially being hired by another animated production company, for example, and they say, "Can we hear a sampling of voices that you've done recently?" Well, if you have this stuff noted in your database, tagged clearly enough in your database, you can very easily and quickly pull up a whole list of all of the voices you've done for recent animation work, and say to the client, "Yeah, well, here's a list of my 17 things I've done, in the past year," and that's helpful too. So
Brilliant.
so my sense is, um, keep them around, mark them up, know when or when not to use them again, but use them as inspiration. Use them if you can, and rely on your stable of work of marketable products, but always be innovating new products, new voices. Always train, whatever.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Howard, it's great to have you. Thanks for providing us Anglophiles with your dulcet tones. And oh my gosh, I look forward to talking to you more about the south of England and its hotness, etc. Wonderful. We appreciate you. That's fabulous. Okay, so keeping it going, I wanted to get to Cole. Forgive me and give me a second. And also, we've got Sharon also in the UK. Um, that's we love that you all are here joining us. And I was fully distracted. Hang on, here I go. All right, here's Howard. Okay, wait, let's do Oliver. Um, so Oliver is asking, one, how do I protect my voice when exploring character voices? This is a good question. Like grunts, screams, evil laughs. Should I use isotope type plugins like a denoise or declicker? What kinds of recommendations in general, David, do you have for more challenging character voices and expressions?
Yeah, I feel like that's two questions in one. I think it was Oliver. You used the word protect. So when I hear protect your voice, I'm thinking like you want to be um, safe with your voice, not to damage your vocal cords or anything like that. And if that's part of the question, um, the rule of thumb is really simple. I would not do any voice that hurts your throat. It's just not worth it, right? Even if it means you lose one potential job. For example, a client wants a certain high pitched voice and you can sort of squeak it out, but it really hurts your throat. Well, maybe you'll satisfy that one client, but then your throat will be damaged and you'll end up taking a month of time off while you rest your vocal cords. So I would not produce any voice that can in any way damage your throat. And along those lines, guys, sometimes we fall into a couple of situations in our production department where we've sent out an audition for some crazy ass voice, and we get an audition back that sounds great, and then we give the script to the voice actor, and they can only sustain that voice for a short amount of time. So, in other words, it's a pretty rough voice. It takes a lot of effort for them to create that voice. We don't know that when we listen to the audition because the audition is 5 or 10 seconds long, whatever it is. But then we give them like a 3 hours of copy with a voice, and they get 10 minutes into the session and they say, like, "Geez, man, like got to take a break. Like, I need an hour break. My throat is killing me." I would not offer a voice to a client that you can't sustain. Okay. And if you're not sure about the project length, then ask the client, say, look, if you need my voice for a couple of lines or 15 seconds of copy or whatever, or even if it's 2 hours of copy, but I have a month to record it, swell. But if you need me to record like 4 hours a day in this voice, then I won't even audition because it will damage my throat. So if that's what you mean by protect, there you go. And
The isotope question was a second. It's all in the same thing, and I just read it. Like it was my bad. It's two separate. It was two separate questions.
okay.
So
So some of you have been on Ask Me Anythings before, and you know that without something written down in front of me, it's out of my brain. So Siobhan, you need to remind me, what was the second part?
absolutely, and yes, I appreciate everything you just said about animation things. Don't strain. Yeah, the strain is not nothing is ever worth hurting yourself for like that. Especially if you're like a voice actor and that's what you need. Don't hurt the thing that
Oh,
your
yes.
instrument.
And I do remember the second part. So you can rely on Isotope. Hey, my memory's with me today. Look at that, guys. Um, yeah, Isotope. You can use plugins for some of these to help create a voice, and that's fine sometimes. But let the client know, because if the client wants to do the processing on their own, then they would need that same processing, right? That same software. So if you are relying on some digital effect to create a voice, like for a video game or something, um, where you have a voice like a pitch shifter, an expansion, whatever it might be, let the client know that this is my voice without the software. This is my voice with the software. Also, let them know that you're more than happy to process it for them, and it's only an extra 10% or something like that, charge. Maybe make some extra money out of the deal because you're doing some more work for them. But I believe that it is your right to let the client know exactly what it is that they're paying for. So if it's your voice, great. If it's your voice with software, let them know.
Wonderful. My unmute was like, okay, fabulous. I also just want to say in my squares, John, your hair is looking good. John Bellimer, I'm talking to you. You look, yeah, keep it going. It's a good look. Also, I really appreciate Amber's studio and your lighting just is like dramatic on you. Like it just looks powerful in there. And I just was noticing that and wanted to let you know. Also, Susan's vibe is so amazing. Like your coat looks fabulous. You just have it's just a power move there as well, looking good, and the greenery behind you. I love your cameras on, you guys. It really brings me joy. Cole, our one of our cat ears today, is talking about auditions for games. And Cole says, I've had a couple of auditions for games and I thought that they turned out really well, but I didn't hear anything back. Understanding that, boy, we all live in that world, right? Like just sending stuff out and like the crickets, the crickets are loud. Um, how can I best improve my auditions and find out where I'm weaker without ever, getting any feedback on my failed audition? Failed, that's a bad word, but you know what I'm saying. David, what do you recommend with this very common scenario?
Yeah. Sorry to sell myself, but I would schedule a session with me. Really, send me your audition, the recording that you sent to the client. Let me see the direction that you were given. Because 9 out of 10 times when I've done this for voice actors, I look at the direction, I listen to the read, and I say, well, of course you weren't hired because of this, that, or the other reason. And usually, once I point something out, the voice actor will say, oh man, that makes sense. And then you'll know to do that from that point forward. In most cases, you're not hired for a couple of just a small number of reasons. Voice actors generally are not hired because their performance, the foundation performance, is not good. They read too quickly. They read they're choppy when they read, whatever it might be. Sometimes they're not hired. Voice actors are not hired because they just don't follow the directions. As simple as slating. At least a quarter, if not up to half, of the voice actors when they audition don't follow the slating guidelines correctly. Um, but then the rest of the time, the biggest reason why voice actors are not hired is because they're not giving the client what it is that the client wants. And that's where so many voice actors really fall short. Clients, you can look at the script and what the client wants, and it may seem ambiguous or confusing or just downright um, nonsensical, but usually you can pull out what it is that the client really ultimately wants. And then once you learn how to do that, you can increase your booking ratio very quickly, usually very quickly. So yeah, have a session and let's sit down. Let's really assess your auditions, and like I said, look at the script, look at the direction that the client sent, and figure out what's going on. Sometimes it's simply because the client, sorry, I should say, sometimes you're not hired simply because the client found someone before you. Sometimes they decide to go with a different gender voice or a different age voice, or they decide not to record at all. So that certainly is the case sometimes. But if you're consistently not winning scripts and you're pretty sure that your recordings are smack on, then there's something else more than likely thwarting your success.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I've had sessions at, I mean, of course, we are Edge Studio, whatever your coaching practice is, but I've worked with James Andrews on audition technique actually, and sending, and in the session listening to the recording and then breaking down my audition and where I need improvement. And sometimes just one session like that for audition technique, one on one, can be massively helpful in how you change your game moving forward. And it's a tax expense, my people, to be ever a student in our
Whoa,
world.
whoa, but let's no, we have to clarify. That's friendly advice, not legal advice. Sorry, I
Right,
have to throw that in.
right. That's true. The friendly advice all around up in here. Um, okay, from Leah. Okay, great. I'm getting my cats in a row. From Leah. Hello from LA. Hello. We should. I'm really excited to be better friends with you all. Leah has her demo now and her website. And she says, I'm wanting to find representation to take to the next step. However, I'm scared to reach out incorrectly. Um, Probably, I think we're talking about pitches as well as, or for clients as well as agents, I'm assuming. But she says, do you have any advice for cold emailing or how to go about finding representation in general? I know we've talked about cold emailing before, and David's very helpful actually in this realm. You want to give us a little breakdown of that, David?
Yeah, two things come to mind, at least right now. One is looking at all of the voice actors who market their demos to our casting and production department. Almost all of them don't brand themselves. They're just, to us, they just seem like another voice actor. They just say, hey, I'm a voice actor, here's my demo. And, one a week would be one thing, one a day would be something else, but 20, 30, 40 a day. I mean, no one stand or almost uh, the vast majority of voice actors don't stand out. And I'm tempted to say it's 99% of voice actors, but maybe 95% of voice actors don't help themselves stand out. There's no branding, there's nothing unique about them. By looking at their email, their cold email, as you call it, there's nothing to entice us to open their email because it's just another voice actor. And well, if we wait 5 minutes, we'll have another incoming email from another voice actor. So certainly, point one is to brand yourself, whether it's the type of voice you have because it's unique, or the age that seems to be best influenced by listening to your voice, or the genres you record, or the languages you speak, or the style you speak, or the range you have, or the accessibility you have, whatever it is. Give us something to give us something to say, oh yeah, we don't have any voice actors that specialize in this or that. And so yeah, we're more likely to open up your email and take a listen. And then if we decide to hold on to your demo, it's very easy for us to add you to our database. We know how to add you. We know how to tag you in our database. So we know when, like, depending on the client that's coming in, we know when to call upon you. Um, if you're just another jack of all trades, there, like I said earlier, there's I don't even know how to categorize you. Do I put you under J for jack of all trades? I mean, we'd have a million, 100,000 by now, whatever. The other, I think the other big point when reaching out to an agent or a manager or representative of any type is to not go about it in such a way that you're trying to sell yourself, but rather to explore a relationship with that individual. That is really key because you need to remember that those people, the managers, the agents, the casting departments, they need you just as much as you need them. So this has to be a two-way relationship, and you need to approach it that way. You need to approach it from the with the sort of the sense of, hey, I learned about your agency, and it seems like you do the type of work that you need voice actors of this type that I am, and I certainly need agents of the type you are. And why don't we grab a phone call, a Zoom call, and chat and see if it makes sense to work together, No harm done. Let's give it 15 minutes. And what I've learned about you seems like it might be a good relationship, but let me know when you have a couple of spare minutes. Um, the alternative is to sell yourself. And that just, I don't know. I don't think anyone likes to be sold to. I don't, and I doubt you do. So I would not approach it that way. But I will tell you, most voice actors sell themselves to us, and it doesn't do anything for us.
Can you, David, just really quickly, can you clarify what selling yourself, like, what does that mean to you as a casting director? Like,
That is bombarding us with I statements. I don't mean I as an eyeball. I mean like I as in me. So if you look at your marketing letter, more than likely every sentence begins with I, right? Hi, I am a voice actor. I do commercials. I have went to school here. I took training there. I have a studio. And, that's it's just too much I. That's all about you. That's not about a relationship. If you watch a commercial on TV for any national product, you don't hear the word I. You don't hear, like, for example, a commercial for Honda. You don't hear the commercial say, it's not the CEO who says, I wanted to make a car. I like cars that go fast. I like cars that get good gas mileage. If anything, the commercials are turning around to you, right? You need a car that gets good gas mileage, and now you can get this great Honda for $3,000 off. It's about you. So they're trying to create that relationship, and that's what you need to do as well.
awesome. I really, wonderful advice. And yes, just want to bring it back to, my personal themes of everything, just the connections and the relationships. And yeah, if you're using a lot of I statements, that's not good for your friendships. That's not good for your working relationships. These things are connected, and that's part of what we're trying to do here is create. You want a good relationship with these clients, and that involves less of the focus on yourself. Weirdly, because you are trying to like get a gig. So psychology, what? Um, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
but remember, the agents want to get a gig also, and for them to get a gig, that means that they have to have a good stable of voice actors. So they need you.
yes. Okay. From Adrian. Hey, Adrian. Great to see you. Yeah, hi. What is the bare minimum to charge when working with local area clients, such as phone IVR, voicemail, non-broadcast situations? How do you approach? What's the best way to work with these kinds of smaller situations?
Yeah, that is a seems like a simple question, but it has a very long answer. I'll make it as short as I can. Number one, I would use our rate card on our website in our free resources, and that gives a range of pricing. Breaks it down by genre, so you can look for telephony voices or telephony pricing as opposed to commercial pricing. It talks about local markets as well as regional and national. And the rates in our rate card are based on non-union, sort of well, all non-union work, and also essentially starting points. And as you gain experience in this industry, you may feel that you may be justified in raising your rates, of course. Um, that said, there are so many variables to that question. I mean, what is the budget of the client? How much do you feel your time is worth? Um, how much volume of work are you getting from a client? And is there a contract that states that you are guaranteed a certain volume of work? There's just a lot of things to consider. I wish it was easy. I wish I could say, you should charge $50 an hour and no less than that. The only thing I would say I feel pretty strongly about in terms of pricing is that you don't underbid yourself. Because if you underbid yourself, if you give away the farm, as the expression is, then you're just doing a disservice, not just for yourself, but also for all voice actors, right? If you tell a client, I'll charge you $100 for a project, and the client says, what, $100? It's a 3-minute commercial. I could just buy I have a microphone built into my iPad. I'll record it myself, unless you can do it for $20. And you say, fine, I'll do it for $20. Well, you've just undersold yourself. You've undercut the industry. And now that client always thinks they can buy professional voice acting for $20. So know what your time is worth, know what a fair rate is, use our rate card to figure out that fair rate and stick to it and be comfortable when you talk about money. Guys, this is a real big thing. In fact, more important than the price you pay, more important than the price you charge. I think it's more important to just to speak comfortably about money because clients need to know what things cost. And this has also come up in previous Ask Me Anythings. But If a client says, how much will you charge? If you sort of fumble through that answer, if you say, well, I usually get 100. Well, I mean, well, yeah, I guess I have to know how much work you're going to give me. Well, I mean, well, is this like a one-time commercial? Like if you start going through a whole like speech like that, the client's going to give up on you. You should comfortably and confidently know what your time is worth and say, hey, this is my minimum. You're a great company, a new company for new companies in local markets. I charge $100. And I'm making up that number, by the way, whether it's $500 or $1,000 or $100. This is what I charge for new clients. And if things go well, then my rate will go to 150 for all subsequent jobs. But I like to start at 100 just so we can explore a relationship with one another and see if it makes sense to work going forward and stick to it. If they say, well, $100 is a bit higher than our budget, we were hoping for 75, say, hey, I hear you, but my rate is 100 and I've held that rate. I feel it's fair for the amount of effort that I put into this and the training I have. And if you want to up that to 100, I'd be thrilled to work with you. I'll do my research and make sure that you get a quality job and beef it up, and stick to it.
Mm, mm. Good advice. Wow, David. Thank you. Thank you. The importance of your worth, your labor, all the training, all that you've invested into this, and and the more you do it, the more comfortable you are at talking about money. And again, the emphasis of community and talking to other voice actors and not being, forgive me, but not being cagey about what you've charged, what you've been paid. Maybe I got paid this, and you know what? It wasn't. I shouldn't have done that. Like if we can talk to each other about that, I think it's better for all of us. In this industry. Carrie, who I saw hydrating, lots of people hydrating in the house. Yeah, I see you. He's asking, interesting question. David, should you have multiple voice coaches prior to cutting your first demo?
It, I've had the same answer for so many of you. I feel bad saying it, but it depends. It really does depend. Sorry, guys. But the thing is, our language is full of exceptions. This industry is full of exceptions. There's no black and white, right? There's so much gray area in our industry that maybe it makes sense that there's no one best answer. Or there may be one best answer for you, but that one best answer for you won't necessarily work for the next person. Multiple coaches? Yeah, for some people, yes. For some other people, no, not at all. It depends on how much you can get from one coach. If they're teaching you in a way that is that really suits your strengths or can help you pinpoint and enhance your strengths, you may have multiple strengths, right? You may have such a massive variety that you need multiple coaches. Some coaches specialize only in one specific area, and other coaches have like comprehension industry wide. There's a lot to think about. I will say this: certainly, different coaches can offer different techniques, but sometimes different coaches will offer competing techniques. For example, sometimes I work with a voice actor, whether it's in a directing session or even helping them, like coaching them or something. And they'll say to me, "Yeah, I worked with a coach once, and they said I should follow every punctuation mark to the T." Or another voice actor will say, "Oh, I worked with a coach who said I should sort of like forget all the punctuation, throw it all away, and come up with my own punctuation." There's a time and place for that stuff. Like, so maybe each coach can offer something else. So I guess I'm trying to put my thoughts together. If you work with different coaches, take what they all say, glean as much as you can from them all, but understand that very often coaches are seeing things from their one perspective, and that's fine. Maybe that perspective worked for them, but a lot of people see things from their one side, what's worked well for them. But what works well for them may not necessarily work well for you. So take as much in as you can from different coaches, but then uh, don't take anything as the final truth, right? Put it all together, figure out what works best for you, make sense of it all and how it relates to you.
Definitely, at Edge, we work with, if you're recording a demo with us, we like you to stay with one coach towards to demo. And I found that important for me. I mean, David, do you want to talk a little bit about why we do that? Why we have one coach to, if you're doing a narration demo, you have a narration coach, a specialist who does all of the sessions with you, just that one person. I mean, I found that beneficial for my practice. Why do we do that?
Yeah, so a number of reasons. When I'm thinking of coaches, I'm also thinking of coaches who can help you with your home studio, coaches who can coach you through marketing, coaches who can help you understand the business and the money aspect of things, and coaches who can kind of coach you through the whole agency experience who are working on with online casting agencies. And there are some coaches out there who really do understand a lot of this stuff. But there are some coaches who just are superb at home studios, but can't help you narrate a documentary, and others who can help you narrate a documentary, but don't know anything about home studios. So it really does depend on what they know, their background, and what you need to learn. At Edge, when you record a demo, yeah, you typically work with one coach, but we also have a massive staple of coaches. We have, I think, 26, or I think we're bringing on a coach number 27 right now. And of those 26 and soon to be 27 coaches, they all have different backgrounds. And if you coach with Edge, the first thing that happens is you work with one of our essentially guidance counselors. We call them education advisors, but they ask you questions, they learn about you, and like, what is it that you're trying to do and where do you want to get to in this industry? What are your goals? What industries do you want to, or what genres do you want to focus on? And based upon that information, then we look at the coaches list and say it would make sense for you to work with this particular coach because they focus on that one specific area, or you should work with another coach because they have the variety that you need for something. So again, there's a lot of different ways to look at this thing. But even if you, when you work toward a demo at Edge and you work with one coach, that's working with one vocal coach. You will work with a different coach to help put together your studio, and you will work with another coach who's going to help you market. And like, a lot of these coaches teach classes, some teach one-on-ones. There's just a lot to it. I mean, our program is pretty extensive. I've recognized some names out here, and I know some of you have gone through our program. And throughout our program, you'll work with some coaches who just teach like a technique class, or I teach an advanced audition class once a month. We all do our thing. So work with I think when you work with the right group of people, you get the best out of it. Also, working within our own organization, I think is helpful because all the coaches and I have calls where we sort of discuss coaching. So we all make sure that we all know the same stuff, like all the professors, hopefully at a university or at least within a college. Because I would never want one coach saying, at Edge at least, one coach saying do A when another coach at Edge says, no, 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 you should do B. That would suck. Yeah. So we have monthly coaching calls where we all get on a Zoom call and we talk about what's new in the industry, what's new with online casting sites, what's new with USB microphones, what's new with different agents that are coming about. New vocal styles, and we talk about these things and share ideas, and so we all are up to date on these things, so we all stay in cahoots with one another and hopefully teach in the same direction. I know we do, so that's good.
Yeah, super extensive, and yeah, it's the long haul. There's so many aspects to think about, and it's certainly you a variety of coaches are always going to color your palette and add more colors to your palette, and your VO journey is yours. And also sometimes you work with a coach and you're like, this isn't vibing with me and I want to work with someone else, and that's also okay too, and part of the process. So with that being said, trying to get David out here on time, because we do believe a graduation, it happens once, hopefully. And we don't want to miss it. So just for our upcoming announcements this month, we do have Twisted Wave 101 for my curious folks out there. That's with the wonderful, charming Art Bruder. You probably have, we've had him here at AMA at least once, and he was at our mixer. He's just a gem of the ocean. So join him for Twisted Wave. And then, very exciting, we do have Animation Audition with Joanne Borum, a casting director, who will be teaching, I think it's a 3-week long class that starts July 6th. Also, very, very special and important announcement. Our next Ask Me Anything, which is the 24th, will be with Joanne Borum. So my animation people, my gaming people, my character people, it's a very special thing that I was like, I just met her. So I'm like, will you do this thing on Zoom? And she said yes, amazingly. So I'm very excited to have her this month. So that's at our next session of Ask Me Anything. Before her class, which begins July 6th. So check that out. We do have people asking questions about the branding and marketing of the world, our consultations that we offer. This is where you can book a branding marketing consult. You can work with me to talk about what's looking good, what's not looking good, and speaking to your uniqueness and your authenticity and how you put it out there in the world. Woof, sometimes that's stressful, but it is okay. If you have not taken any coaching sessions here at Edge ever before, we want to offer you a little incentive, which is $25 off. So you can coach anything, business consult, audition technique, whatever. And you use the code AMA to get $25 off. And that also works with Mr. Goldberg himself. So you can, this little link will get you straight to David if you want to work with David, if you have not done that yet. Finally, people were asking about rate cards. We do love a good rate card out here. And that can all be found at our VO Resource Center. You do have to sign up for that. So you have to like register and you have to like have a password, but it's okay. You can do it, you can get through it. And then it's going to be very helpful because we have a lot of resources that, provided you have a login, which is also free to do, you can access those things, and we want you to have them. For just in general, if you're totally new and are like, I don't understand anything Siobhan just said, that's okay. Sometimes I talk too fast, but we do have an Investigate voiceover class for all of the beginning questions and answers you might possibly need. It's a long class with a professional full-time voice actor to help walk you through the wild woods and make you feel like it's not that scary. It's all going to be okay. Here, I've got a little link, friend, just the link tree. You can just click that and open it up in your browser, and then you'll have all the links that I just mentioned, because I just said a lot of words all at once. And we do have a blog post Art Bruder just published on EQ and compression again. What fascinating words just came out of my mouth sometimes, Dina. Very valuable hour. Yes, Charles, thank you. Thank you. I want to thank all of you for being with us today. It was really, honestly, I love this hour so much. And I know that David has echoed the same sentiment, but it's so fun to get to know you, to see how you're doing, to see what's going on, to see the temperature. I've got Yaya in one square, like fanning herself because it's hot outside. And I've got Susan, with her coat on because it's cold where she is. And I gotta say, that's something I love about the world we live in this moment, is that we can still all be together in our various climates and scenarios. David, any closing remarks as we depart today?
No, I love what you just said about someone in a hot part of the world and someone in a cool part. It is great that we can come together via Zoom. It's terrific. I love seeing. Siobhan said it. I say it every Ask Me Anything. I love this. It's so much fun. There were some really good questions this go around, which was great. I give you all credit. So many of you come back every Ask Me Anything, and for those of you who have been here before, you know that almost every class or every session, there are a couple of questions that are repeats from previous weeks. So, but you still come back, which just shows that you care and you're passionate about learning and growing your voiceover business, and that's super cool. So, thank you to all of you. Siobhan, thank you. You rock it. Hands, I think applause for all of you and Siobhan as well. Right, yay! Next time we should all wear the cat phones.
Yep,
That would be super fun.
I'll be okay. Next time, not only will it be an animation session, but I will wear my Razor Kitties. Leah, I hope that you can make it, and Cole, I hope you can make it. Same time on June 24th. And yeah, I want to iterate that as well. Bob just said yes, one world. Dina said it's always worthwhile. That really just speaks to my heart. This is being recorded. I will post it. It'll be on our YouTube channel tomorrow. And I'll post it on socials. Please follow us on social media. That's me making all the posts, the typos that I do sometimes, the little jokes. We're talking about our coffee cups. But yes, I appreciate this time with you so much. And David, have a wonderful time at your son's graduation. Everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon. And we will see you in just 2 weeks' time, which will come by super duper fast on June 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can do the math for everywhere else. Mwah, be well. Bye.